Hello and welcome to Combat Talk Podcast. My name is Charlie, and we are joined once again here with Bellator light heavyweight Mr. Lee the Butcher Chadwick. How you doing, man?
I'm good, mate. It's good to see you again.
Good, good. Thank you for coming on once again. So tell me, how you doing right now? How's camp going?
Camp's good. If I'm honest, at the minute I'm tired. I've been pushing it daily. I'm training 3 or 4 times a day, so it's going well. It's the way it should be at the minute. Still plenty of time to go to.
Great. And you're training out in ASW Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, it's ASW Lee up in Wigan.
Oh yes. But I've seen a few times. You're always down in Liverpool the majority of the time in that
Yeah,
gym.
well, we're actually moving next week. We're moving out of our normal headquarters. We're moving into a gym called Four Corners Combat Gym. So that'll be in Liverpool. So we will be based in Liverpool. But there's also another ASW Liverpool, which is in Skelmersdale, that I quite often go to because my friends own that.
Great. Well, first of all, I want to ask you about, back in November, you came off a great split decision win. I was actually
Yeah,
there. I was there in crowd to actually see it, and you fought a great battle. Actually, can you give us a bit of a breakdown, even before the fight? What were you thinking, and even during the fight, what was your mindset going into the whole bout?
yeah. The guy who fought Arunas, I knew he was a good striker. He was going to try and pick me off and get points and avoid the takedown. So my goal was to try and shut him down, get him to the cage, cut, work side to side, coming in and out, so that he's not catching me with flying knees and kicks and stuff like that. So it was quite a methodical game plan for that fight.
Tell me, are you satisfied with the judges' scoring in that fight?
No, not at all. I mean, if if anything, at the worst case scenario, he might have had maybe 1 round, but 2 rounds, unanimous decision. All three judges should have said, I won the fight because I built up throughout each round. I stepped it up each round. The third round, I took him out took him down for the full fight, for the full round. So how could the judge give that round to him? Do you know what I mean?
Of course, of course. Yeah, and
He was saying he was attacking Kimura, but I was allowing him to attack that Kimura to burn time on the clock because it's the tactic that you do as a wrestler. Burn time, keep it on the ground. If it looks like he's trying to submit me, even though it's not effective, the referee won't stand it up, and it gives me more time to work and try and pass the guard. But there was no chance he's pulling my arm up. I've got 150-kilo guys try to do that to me, and they don't do it. So I knew for a fact that that was the only points that the commentators were giving him on the fight.
is there any changes that we should expect to see from you in May compared to your last fight in November?
Definitely. If I'm honest, it was I didn't get out that last fight. I used a smart game plan, shut him down. To be honest, he wouldn't engage. I thought he'd engage a bit more. I expected more from him. I expect when I seen him fight James Mullerin, he mauled him, didn't he? Cut him up,
Yes.
beat him up, and I thought, okay, that's the fight I was preparing for. So I kept waiting, expecting him to come at me, and the time never come. And by the time round by round, the rounds go so fast when you're in the moment. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So it was a bit of a that last fight was, I won the fight and I won it easily. But this next fight, I'd like to be honest with you, I want it to be more messy. I want more of a fight. I want it to be and I think I'll get that off this guy because he's a bit like the guy I fought in Italy. He's a black belt on the ground. He can strike as well. He's got a good record. He's fought on KSW many times. He's fought Jack Hermanson. So I think he's going to be confident in himself and he's going to come forward, which will bring out the best in me. Because, I hate chasing people. And I find that a lot with
Yes.
some people at a fight. I end up chasing them around the cage because they don't want to engage. They don't want to clinch and they don't want to brawl with me. Even if they're good strikers, they don't want to brawl with me because that's my avenue, close close combat is my thing.
And go back into what you said. You wanted to make it messy, even from my viewer perspective of even watching the fight right near to the cage. You were chasing him with, you were using a lot of your lead overhand left, and that you were trying to turn it into a brawl. But at the end of the day, once you were victorious, at the end of the day, that's what really matters.
Yeah. Well, the last round, my coach said to me, listen, you need to put a stamp on this fight, take him down, catch him on a flying knee. And because he just kept throwing flying knees, he wasn't even timing them right. So he said, when he throws a flying knee, grab him, slam him to the floor, keep him there, beat him up.
And in May, you have a fight against Marcel Rozansky. Making his
Rozansky,
making his Bellator debut actually. 13 wins in his pro MMA career, and surprisingly a very hard guy to finish. Give me your thoughts on this guy. What do you think of
him? I think he's tough. He's good on the ground. He can stand and bang. He can take a beat, and he's not being finished. So he's going to be a tough guy. But I do want to finish him. I want to submit him or knock him out. So I will be coming in hard for that. It'll be another. I don't get no easy fights. It's just going to be another test for me to prove what level I really am at.
And based off his skill, do you see any advantages in your game compared to him?
Yeah, wrestling and judo. He's a BJJ guy. He likes to work off his back, I think. He's got quite a few submissions off his back. And he likes to work on top. But in the middle is where I excel. Clinch, cage control, judo, trips and stuff like that. So I do think I am the better wrestler. And my submissions are a bit more tricky than his. He does the basic arm bars. He likes triangles, chokes, stuff like that. But I do a lot of. I've been catch wrestling for about nearly a decade now, so there's a lot of stuff that jiu-jitsu people don't see that I'm gonna be trying to work on him.
Yeah, so let's see if you come out with the victory here in May. That'll be 3 straight wins in a row right now. What do you want from this win?
Yeah, well, we've been in talks with Bellator, and they've said put this guy away. They're going to be giving me top 10 opponents, and bigger contracts and stuff like that. So this is like a good shot for me to really boost me profile.
Do you see yourself fighting for the belt in the next 2 years, year or two?
Yeah, that's what I'll be shouting out for after this win. I want to fight. I've already called out a guy on Instagram, Julius Anglicus. He's ranked number 5.
Of course. Yes, Anglicus, of course.
He's a good guy. There's no animosity. I've got respect for him. I've seen him get beat by Nemkov, and then he got beat by Phil Davis. I think where he lacks is where I excel. He's ranked number 5 in Bellator, and I think get that fight with him. It'll put me right in closer contention for the belt, because he's coming off title fights off to a champion and a former champion. So I commented on a post for the Dublin card, said, do you fancy throwing down in Dublin? And he would love to. He said he would love to. So I said, well, you let Bellator know, I'll let Bellator know, and see if we can make that fight happen for Dublin in September.
Yeah, so you want to be pretty active if you get the win in May. That's 4 or 5 months later. So you want to be pretty active.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've wanted to be active for years. This pandemic has slowed everything right down. I'm used to having 3 or 4 fights a year, as you can see by my record. At certain stages in my career, I've actually done that for a few years, and that's why I've had so many fights. I love fighting, and the more the merrier. I'd fight. I want to fight in September, and I'd like to get another one in before Christmas if I can. Try and make up for lost time over the pandemic, because all I've been doing is training and learning. So I want to start, putting everything to practice in the cage.
We went back talking about the rankings, and you've Nemkov came up, and if in a couple of weeks he'll be defending his belt in the light heavyweight Grand Prix against Corey Anderson. How do you see that fight playing out?
I think Corey will beat him. I've seen too much weakness in him when he fought Julius. He got dropped by Julius Anglicus. And I do like Nemkov's ground game and his cardio, but I think Corey's a little bit too dynamic for him.
And
I do think Corey could beat him.
Yeah. And I think it's at the point right now where we can actually start comparing you to these top guys. So much experience and very close, as you mentioned, with one win to go when you're right in that ranking scheme. How do you compare yourself to fighters like Vadim Nemkov, Corey Anderson, Julius Anglicus?
Yeah, well, I do believe that a lot of the fighters in the top 10, I am better than anyway. Julius Anglicus, he's a good striker. He's a boxer, very tough. It looks like he's made of steel, but he doesn't look. He's not very clued up on the ground. He might be strong, and he can survive and stuff like that, but he's got no. His skill level's really low on the ground, I believe. So I think I could take him out with a submission. I wouldn't type of fighter like that. I would have a good slug match with, but as soon as I see the opportunity, I'd be taking them down and submitting them.
Great. And last question here, because I do not want to keep you here too long. Speaking of, you're from Liverpool right now, and I want to talk about Liverpool's rising stars at the moment. Molly McCann, Paddy Pimblett. Like, any thoughts on those guys? They're doing the city proud, and
yeah, they're doing well.
They're great characters.
They are pushing MMA, and they're doing well. And it's going to put more kids in the local gyms and stuff like that, and there'll be a bit of a boom in gyms for MMA gyms in the city. So it's a good thing. And personally, I know Paddy anyway, but personally, Molly. My wife's friends with Molly as well, so I really like her as a person. She's a very humble girl, and she loves every minute of it, and she deserves it. So I'm happy for them. Same with Tom as well. He's a humble guy, Tom Aspinall. I think they deserve every success they get, and they are doing good things for the city. So hats off to them.
And tell me, did you catch the UFC London card?
I did, yeah. I watched all of it, yeah.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that? Especially Molly's outstanding spinning back elbow KO and Paddy's performance.
It was good because I thought she was fading. She looked like she started to fade in the third round, and and then the other girl was coming on strong, showboating a bit, but she left the tall girl left her face in that position for far too long in the clinch. Luckily, Molly felt the position she was in and thought, she's been there about 30 seconds, I'm going to throw this elbow, and she did it and it landed. So hats off to her for saying that. It was brilliant, getting a viral knockout like that. And as for Paddy as well, the guy, I don't know why he tried to take Paddy down, because that's his that's his forte, isn't it?
Yeah, that's his bread and butter.
I think the guy panicked and the pressure got to him, and he just ended up doing the wrong thing straight away, because as soon as he shot, I thought, well, that's, you're going to get finished soon, mate.
Great, excellent. That was it. Lee Chadwick, the Butcher. Check him out. Bellator London. We'll see you soon. Best of luck.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.